Hello friends, I'm Gunnery Sgt Charles Paul.
And I'm Staff Sgt Tilden Olsen, and we are back with your
March Mania update! Well, we are through Sousa 16. There's a few compelling storylines we're tracking here. Maybe an underdog March making a Cinderella run, the continued dominance of John Williams. But I think most of all for me is the poor performance of John Philip Sousa so far.
Well, let's put on our capes, take off our glasses, and focus our laser eyes in on Superman, and They Are There in Game 17. Superman is soaring up, and away against They Are There, winning by about 1,700 votes. I'm not sure any March is going to be able to catch him.
Yeah, there weren't enough Ives supporters there this time. Charles Ives was trying to play the role of Lex Luthor, but the Man of Steel foils him again. Superman flies on into the next round. Let's head to the other side of the bracket here at Game 18 was an all Sousa matchup. Sousa had to win this one, and sure enough, the Liberty Bell takes the win over Nobles of the Mystic Shrine.
Well, give me Liberty and give me Sousa, moving on to the Enlisted 8. Moving on now to Game 19 on March 19th, we saw Circus Bee taking on the Imperial March, and the Circus Bee was no match for the dark side.
Yeah, Imperial March more than doubled the votes given to Circus Bee. My lack of faith in the Circus Bee was more than justified. I don't think anything can stop the March of the Empire here. Let's head to Game 20, which saw Luis Savarino's March of the Women Marines facing kind of one of the juggernauts on this side of the bracket, Entry of the Gladiators. Well, Savarino better check himself. The Czech March King is moving on to the Enlisted 8.
I don't think Savarino was very entertained by this matchup. Speaking of entertainment, over 15,000 votes were made in Game 21, which saw Colonel Bogey taking on the Wildcat March, and this was a hot matchup.
Whew, that's hotter than a summer day on the parade deck.
Northwestern really came out in support of their own on this one.
While they needed the Colonel to hit a bogey, he sure did. The Cinderella run continues for the Wildcat March. They're headed into the Enlisted 8 to square off against Superman. Moving to Game 22, now we're both proud Americans, but I think we can all appreciate the contributions Belgians made to society. Frites,
Waffles,
chocolate, Jean-Claude Van Damme, and how do we repay them? By knocking out of this year's March Mania. American Patrol gets the win convincingly over March of the Belgian Parachutists.
Well, with American Patrol's win, we have an All-American contest when it takes on Liberty Bell next in the Enlisted 8. Speaking of All-American contests, Game 23 saw Who's Who in Navy Blue take on Sons of Uncle Sam. Now, do you remember who the composer was of Sons of Uncle Sam?
I think that was Earl McCoy.
The real McCoy?
Sons of Uncle Sam, you're the real McCoy. You've got a showdown against Darth Vader in the next round. And that takes us to our last matchup here in the second round, which saw Ives eliminated for good from this tournament. Radetzky March gets the win here over Country Band March.
Well, this sets up a great regional rivalry versus the Austrian Waltz King and the Czech March King. Either way, I think we all win.
Well, partner, 8 marches remaining. It's all to play for here. My bracket is completely toast. Yours is looking pretty good there. Who do you think's gonna take this thing?
Well, I think Superman is going to come out victorious. He was my pick when I filled out my bracket a few weeks ago, and I really think he's going to come through with this one.
Well, I think they don't call Sousa the March King for nothing. He took it all last year. I know there are lots of Sousa fans out there. I could see them getting behind him and pushing him through it to win this whole thing.
Well, Liberty Bell's a really excellent march, so I think he's got a good shot with it.
That's right. Well, the Enlisted 8 starts today. Keep those votes coming. Vote early.
Vote often, and until next time,
Semper Fi!